Today's car buyer, never mind whether he's in the market for a small car or a large one, is increasingly interested in sophisticated equipment and also in design. In fact, electronic gadgetry and styling is what he wants. And yet, even in these hard times, the body beautiful surprisingly counts for far more than how much it's going to cost to put it right after a scrape. Yet, you know, sophistication and practicality don't really go hand in hand. Take bumpers, for instance. To work properly, bumpers all need to be the same height, certainly the same height at the front as they are at the back, but they're not. And to contribute much in a side impact, they surely need to hit the car where it's strongest, on the sill. Too few do. Many of the newer plastic-type bumpers, like those on the Renault 14 and the smaller 5, look very smart and they won't rust, but they're difficult to patch repair and so need to be completely renewed. The insurers would like to see at least split bumpers, if not three-piece section ones. They like the bumper, for instance, on this Chrysler Alpine. Plastic, yes, but from last week you can now glue in a new corner if you need one for £14.80 instead of spending £36 for the complete bumper. Insurers don't like wrap-round bumpers where the bumper is bolted to the wing, because every time the corner of the car gets a knock on the bumper, bang goes the wing underneath. Insurers ask car designers instead to space the bumper away from the bodywork at the front. Not like this, because every time the bumper gets a bang, then the bodywork behind it has to absorb the impact. Again, at the front of the car, some radiators are still far too close to the front panel. The first bit of damage, and bang goes the radiator too. Radiators need to be spaced away from the front panel, as on this Cavalier, but not so they're too near the fan, or else you'll only damage them on the other side. The insurers would like to see more clearance too between the radiator and the alternator. Take a look at this on the Audi here. Not a lot of clearance, the radiator moves back and then it'll be held by the alternator moves back and then it could short circuit. Be safer too if batteries went at the front of the car, as on the Allegro here. What happens? You need a new battery if you bang the front end of the car. Much better and safer if the battery is removed to the back of the engine compartment here, as on the Audi. Some front panels are tending now to get rather overcomplicated and then over-expensive, of course, when it comes to the insurance company having to pay for a new one. I mean, need a front panel, in fact, be as complicated as this? After all, it's hidden away behind the headlights, the radiator grille and the bumper. And then, of course, with the styling on the new cars, take the Rover, for instance, with the front wings bending inwards, they found that it's time-consumingly complicated to remove the front panel. And then, of course, more and more new cars still appear where you have to take the bonnet off before you can change anything. Bolt-on front wings look sensible, don't they, as on the Volvo 343 here. In fact, they make quite a point of it in their sales brochure. Front wings, they say, can be removed in less than no time. And yet, what they found here at Thatcham is that you need to take the door off, the front panel, the headlights and the bumper off before you can get at the wing. So in fact, if the wing were welded on in the first place, then perhaps the job would take just about the same time. Headlamps, they've become more and more complicated and more expensive. A new headlamp like this costs a pretty staggering £50.70p compared to £6.55p for a straightforward round one. On too many cars, the insurer is forced to pay for the complete unit when just a glass would do, would put things right. Talking of glass brings me to windscreens. Now, this of course can be fitted in the usual way with the rubber surround, or it can be bonded in place, as on the Rover here again. Obviously, at the factory, bonding a screen in place must be cheaper. But Thatcham say out on the road afterwards, in this case, it could cost up to £100 to replace the screen. Let's end on a colourful note. They've sprayed this door skin not in 5 different shades of gold, but in fact in Ford's Arizona gold. 5 different tins of ready-mixed paint with the same part number. Now, if your car had been sprayed this gold originally, the repair had been resprayed in this gold, would you sign the satisfaction note? Would you demand a respray and therefore increase the cost of the claim?
Well, Danny Gibbs, some examples there of improvements that could be made by designers, but in your experience, are manufacturers prepared to listen to you at such an early stage?
Well, initially, Tony, they weren't, of course, but as we built up a professional reputation, they started to listen to us more and more, and today we are involved with the new model concept after the concept has been conceived, and we see clay models and prototypes, and we're asked for our comments on repairability.
All right. Well, let's broaden the whole thing out by talking to one of the men who actually designs today's motor cars, William Towns, who designed not only the electric microdot car, which I thought was a pretty stunning-looking small car, but also the new Lagonda, which amazed us all. William, how much notice do you think you and your fellow designers take of the kind of words and advice that insurers are prepared to offer?
Well, I think today a lot of interest. The days of creating motor cars so that they looked as if they were carved from the solid by leading in all joints and so forth are long since gone. Today open joints are a matter of course, and I know that the designers that I know work on that sort of basis. They design panel breakdowns so that there are natural spray lines to spray to, always assuming you can get paint to match.
In other words, then, a designer's job is more than mere aesthetics these days?
Today, yes, I think so. Whether this is so in the big companies, I'm not quite so sure, but in the smaller companies, most certainly it has to be.
And yet, looking at it from the other way round, it would seem that your experiences, for instance, with the microdot, when you come to try and get it insured, haven't convinced you that by designing in repairability, it's paid off.
Well, yes, that is a curious one. Microdot is designed with the idea of being able to remove its body in one piece. And this just has to make the most simple car in the world, as far as repair is concerned. My insurance broker quoted me only third party.
Ouch. So it doesn't look very encouraging, does it?
No.
But what about some of the design aberrations, shall we call them? What about things such as Richard's talked about, the wraparound bumper? Now, here the problem must surely be that designers want to put on wraparound bumpers. There must be a way of designing them so that they work rather better than they do at the moment, so that the wing doesn't get crunched up in the event of a small impact.
Yes, that's true. I'm not sure that all designers want to see wraparound bumpers, and you'll note that Lagonda bumpers finished at the wing edge. But if you do want to see wraparound bumpers, then I suspect the Chrysler Alpine has to be the way to do it, to run the bumper horizontally rearwards, underneath the wing panel, as opposed to on top of it.
So again, clever design right from the off. What about the headlamp saga? Surely there must be a case for producing, say, a standard rectangular and a standard round headlamp. Maybe you designers could put a fancy piece of glass in front of it, but surely there's a case for a standard headlamp unit.
Well, that might be the case. I think that it would be very difficult with the varieties of plan shape and nose form on present-day cars to find one that really would sell to all manufacturers. But I think that the styled-in headlamp is becoming one of the facts of present-day life, and the buyer expects
to pay for it.
Indeed, yes.
Mm. Let's look at the body shape itself. Now, if we look, for instance, at a Rover 3500, very elegant front, but that front thin strip of a panel that runs across can't be removed without first taking the wings off. Now, is that good design these days?
I would have said no. I think that if the wing to that centre panel had an open joint, a bolted open joint, the car wouldn't have looked any worse for it.
All right, Danny, I wonder what you think about that. Would it help your job here at Thatcham if designers like William designed panels like that that could be replaced more easily?
Of course it would, Tony. In fact, on the case of the Rover, we got round it by doing something quite extraordinary. We had to cut the front panel edges off and then take it off that way. But otherwise, from first view, it looked as though to get that panel out, we might have to take the engine and gearbox out. Well, that's pretty expensive.
Well, that is it. Next week we shall start thinking about holidays, and it's the one activity where the car can actually save you money. Join us then.